Commander Du, Kim stood at the observation window of Earth Defense Station Alpha, his hands clasped tightly behind his back. The emergency broadcast from New Hope Colony played on repeat on his screen. He had watched it 17 times now, but his face remained calm. The colony's last transmission showed families running, buildings falling, and alien ships firing from above. The Concordat ships had attacked without warning. Their excuses would come later. They always did. A navigational error, a misunderstanding, a necessary security operation. But Duha knew better. This time, they had proof. "Commander," Gayan Choi's voice came through his earpiece. "You need to see this right away." "Show me," he said quietly. Gayan's AI systems had been monitoring all Concordat communications for the past 5 years. Today, they had caught something big. The data scrolled across Duha's screen. Secret messages, hidden orders, carefully planned attacks. The New Hope Colony massacre wasn't a mistake. It was part of a pattern. "How many?" Duha asked. 712 dead. "Sir, 300 of them children." Duha's hands tightened until his knuckles turned white. The Concordat had chosen the colony carefully. New Hope was a farming settlement, growing food for 3 other human worlds. Its destruction would cause hunger and fear. The aliens thought this would make humans easier to control. They were wrong. In his office, Duha opened a secure channel to Earth's Council. 5 tired faces appeared on his screen. They had all seen the footage. "Honorable Council members," Duha said, "what I'm about to show you will change everything we thought we knew about our place in the galaxy." Gayan's data filled their screens. Years of secret recordings, hidden cameras, and intercepted messages. The council members watched in silence as the truth unfolded before them. The Concordat, the alien alliance that had welcomed humanity to the galactic community, had been playing a long game. Every major disaster in human space over the past century had their fingerprints on it. The Mars colony plague, the Jupiter station accident, the disappearance of 3 research ships, all carefully planned, all designed to keep humanity weak and dependent. "They think we're animals," Duha explained. "Dangerous animals that need to be kept in a cage. They fear what we might become if we grow too strong." Council Leader Park leaned forward. "You've had this information for how long, Commander?" "We've been gathering it for 5 years. Today's attack gave us the final proof we needed. They're not going to stop." The New Hope massacre was just the beginning of a larger plan. The council chamber fell silent. These men and women had spent their careers trying to make peace with the alien races. They had given in to every Concordat demand, accepted every restriction, believed every lie. Now they saw the truth. The aliens had never seen them as equals. To the Concordat, humans were just clever animals to be controlled. "What do you suggest, Commander?" Council Leader Park asked. Duha's voice was calm, but his eyes burned with a cold fire. "For 300 years, we've played their game. We've been polite, cooperative, peaceful, and in return, they've killed our people, destroyed our colonies, and planned our extinction. I suggest it's time to show them why they were right to fear us." He pressed a button, and new images filled the council's screens. Secret military bases hidden in asteroid belts, weapons research facilities buried under ocean floors, ships and soldiers training in the darkness between stars. While the Concordat thought they were keeping humanity weak, Earth had been preparing. "They call us Deathworlders," Duha said. "They mock us for evolving on a planet that tried to kill us every day. But they forget what that means. We survived. We grew stronger. And we learned to fight back." The council members looked at each other. They had all lost friends and family to accidents and mistakes. They had all swallowed their pride and accepted alien lies. Now, they saw the bigger picture. "How long will you need?" Council Leader Park asked. 6 months to mobilize everything. The aliens think they know all our strengths and weaknesses. They don't. They've never seen what humans can really do when we stop holding back. The council voted unanimously. After centuries of playing nice, after watching their people die while speaking gentle words, humanity had finally had enough. The Concordat thought they were being clever, culling the dangerous animals before they could become a threat. They were about to learn that they hadn't been containing humanity. They had been poking a sleeping giant with a stick. And now, that giant was awake. As Duha left the council chamber, he sent a single message to his most trusted officers. Begin Operation Retribution. The time for games was over. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility unknown to the Concordat, Yamu Park stared at the weapon prototype floating in the testing chamber. The quantum device looked simple, just a small silver cube that could fit in his palm. Its true nature was anything but simple. Run the test again, he told his team. They had been working for 20 hours straight, but nobody complained. After hearing about New Hope Colony, sleep didn't seem important anymore. The cube pulsed once. In the testing chamber, a piece of Concordat ship armor, stolen piece by piece over the years, simply ceased to exist. No explosion, no sound, just gone, its atoms scattered across quantum space. Yamu allowed himself a small smile. The aliens thought human science was primitive. They had no idea what humans could do when pushed too far. His computer beeped. A message from Han Solo. The Special Forces commander wanted an update on the weapons. Yunwu typed quickly. Ready for field testing. Bring your team. In an abandoned mining station orbiting Jupiter, Han Sol watched his soldiers train. These men and women had been preparing for years, learning to fight in every possible condition. They knew how each alien species moved, fought, and fought. Again, he ordered, and the simulation started over. The holographic aliens appeared, tall, graceful, and deadly. But his soldiers were ready. They moved like shadows, using every trick humans had learned in thousands of years of warfare. The aliens were stronger, faster, and had better technology. But humans had something they didn't understand: the willingness to do whatever it took to win. "Sir," one of his lieutenants called. "Message from Dr. Park. The new weapons are ready." Han Sol nodded. "Tell the teams to pack up. It's time for real practice." In her command center in Seoul, Gae and Choi watched hundreds of screens at once. Her AI systems were everywhere now, hidden in Concordat networks, watching their ships, reading their messages. The aliens thought their technology was unhackable. They were wrong. "Show me their fleet movements," she ordered. The main screen lit up with a map of nearby space. Concordat ships moved in careful patterns, watching Earth and its colonies. They thought they were the hunters. Gaen's fingers flew over her keyboard, planting more hidden programs in their systems. A message popped up from Commander Duha. "Status report." Gaen sent back. "We see everything. They see what we want them to see." Duha stood in a hidden shipyard carved into Mars's largest moon. Around him, Earth's real fleet was taking shape. The ships looked primitive on the outside, exactly what the Concordat expected from simple humans. Inside, they held surprises that would change the galaxy. "Commander," an officer called. "The last stealth units are in position. We have eyes on every major Concordat base." Duha nodded. They had positioned human agents throughout alien space, looking like simple workers and traders. The Concordat saw humans as stupid animals. They never noticed their servants were watching, learning, and waiting. His tablet showed updates from all teams. Yanwu's quantum weapons, ready. Han Sol's special forces, ready. Gaen's cyber warfare systems, ready. The hidden fleet, ready. But they had to wait. The timing had to be perfect. One wrong move, and the aliens would realize the humans they'd been trying to cage had teeth. In public, humanity played its role perfectly. They apologized for New Hope Colony, accepting the Concordat's lies about a tragic accident. They agreed to new restrictions on human ships and colonies. They acted scared and weak. The alien ambassadors left the emergency meeting looking pleased. They thought they had tightened humanity's cage. They didn't notice the cold look in human eyes or the way military officers checked their watches during the meeting. In his office, Duha received the final pieces of intelligence. The Concordat was planning more accidents. 3 more colonies would be destroyed in the next month. Millions would die. But this time, humanity was ready. He opened a secure channel to all team leaders. The Concordat thinks they're being clever. They think they're slowly breaking us down. In 1 month, they'll learn what happens when you corner a species that evolved on a death world. Every human is in position. Every weapon is ready. When they move against our colonies, we'll show them why their ancestors were right to fear Earth. Across human space, commanders read his message and prepared their forces. The aliens had spent centuries poking what they thought was a caged animal. In 30 days, the cage would break open, and humanity would show the galaxy what Deathworlders could really do. The Concordat's luxurious space station, Celestial Crown, a human janitor mopped the floors outside the main conference room. The aliens barely noticed him, just another servant from that primitive Deathworld. They didn't know his real name was Jinho, or that tiny devices in his cleaning equipment recorded every word they said. Jinho kept his head down as 3 high-ranking Concordat officials walked past. They were discussing their next attack on human colonies, not even bothering to lower their voices. Why should they? Humans were too stupid to understand their language. But Jinho understood every word. So did the hidden transmitter in his mop, sending everything to Gayan's computers back on Earth. In her command center, Gayan watched the information flow in from thousands of sources like Jinho. Her screen showed a galaxy lit up with tiny points of light, every human agent feeding information back home. Their arrogance makes this almost too easy, she said to herself, watching another secret meeting through the eyes of a hidden camera. The aliens had never imagined that the humans serving their drinks and cleaning their floors could be part of an intelligence network. Her computer chimed, a priority message from a deep cover agent. She opened it and her eyes widened. "Commander Duha," she called immediately. "You need to see this." Duha read the report with growing anger. The Concordat wasn't just planning to attack more colonies. They were going to poison Earth's food supply. They had engineered a virus that would kill Earth's crops, forcing humans to depend on alien food supplies forever. "Send this to Hansol's team," he ordered. "They'll need to know which facilities to hit first." He looked at the latest intelligence map. Humanity's shadow network now reached into every corner of Concordat space. Human workers loaded cargo on their ships. Human traders sold goods in their markets. Human servants worked in their homes. And every single one was watching, listening, and reporting back. In a busy spaceport on the Concordat's capital world, a human trader named My Son haggled with alien merchants. Her small shop sold Earth curiosities, simple crafts that the aliens bought as exotic decorations. They laughed at the primitive human work, not realizing that every item contained hidden sensors. "Such basic technology," an alien customer said, picking up a hand-carved wooden box. "It's amazing humans ever made it to space." My Son bowed and smiled, playing her role perfectly. The alien didn't know that the box would soon sit in his office, recording every secret meeting. Her real work happened after the shop closed. In the quiet night hours, she met with other human agents, gathering their information and planning their next moves. Back on Earth, Yanwu tested his newest invention, tiny quantum recorders that could hide in plain sight. They looked like simple decorative stones, but they could store massive amounts of data and transmit it instantly across any distance. "Send these to all our deep cover agents," he told his team. "I want eyes and ears in every Concordat facility within the month." He checked the latest reports from the Shadow Network. Human agents had mapped every important alien installation. They knew guard rotations, security systems, and weak points. When the time came to strike, there would be no surprises. In a secret training facility on Mars, Hansol reviewed the intelligence from the network with his special forces teams. Every piece of information made their planned strikes more precise. "The Concordat thinks they know all our capabilities," he told his soldiers. "They think they can predict everything we'll do. But they've never seen our real strength. They don't know that we're already inside their defenses, watching their every move." His teams memorized layouts of alien bases, studied security patterns, and practiced their attacks. When the signal came, they would hit hundreds of targets simultaneously. The shadow network would make sure every strike hit exactly where it hurt most. Duva stood in his command center, watching the network grow stronger each day. On his main screen, thousands of points of light showed human agents moving through alien space. Each one was a sensor, a weapon, and a warrior, waiting for the signal. A message from Gayan flashed on his screen. "Shadow network coverage now at 98%. We can see everything they do." Duha allowed himself a grim smile. The Concordat thought they were the masters of this game. They didn't realize that humans had been playing a much deeper game all along. "Send to all agents," he typed. "Maintain cover. Record everything. In 2 weeks, we show the galaxy what humanity can really do." Across alien space, hidden humans received his message and continued their patient work. The shadows were their allies now, and in those shadows, humanity's revenge was taking shape. The Concordat's largest military base floated in space, its weapons ready to destroy any human ships that came too close. Inside, alien commanders watched their screens carefully. They had to be ready when the primitive humans tried something foolish. They never saw the danger that was already inside their walls. At exactly 300 Earth time, Jinho stopped mopping the floors. My son closed her shop. Every human servant, worker, and trader across Concordat space checked their watches and moved into position. In his command center, Duha looked at the countdown timer. "Send the signal," he ordered. Gayan pressed a single button. Across the galaxy, thousands of hidden quantum devices activated at once. The first strike happened in total silence. In the Concordat's main fleet base, every computer screen suddenly went dark. The aliens rushed to fix them, not realizing that Gayan's viruses had already taken control of their entire system. "Their defense networks are blind," Gayan reported to Dua. Moving to Phase 2. Hansol's teams moved like ghosts through the dark halls of alien bases. The Concordat guards never saw them coming. Years of training in Earth's harshest environments had taught these soldiers how to move without making a sound. In the main weapons control room, Hansol himself led the attack. His team used Yun Wu's new weapons, small silver cubes that made no noise and left no trace. The alien guards simply disappeared, their atoms scattered across quantum space. "Primary targets secured," Hansol reported. "All teams, proceed to secondary objectives." On the Celestial Crown Station, Jinho stopped pretending to be a simple janitor. He pulled Yun Wu's quantum devices from his cleaning cart and placed them at key points around the station. Each one shut down vital systems, following Gayan's carefully planned cyber attack. The aliens ran around in confusion, trying to understand why nothing worked. They didn't notice their human servants disappearing one by one, their missions complete. In orbit around Earth, the Concordat's watchdog fleet suddenly lost all power. Their mighty ships floated helpless in space as hidden human vessels appeared from behind Earth's moon. These ships didn't look like the weak vessels the aliens were used to seeing. They were warships, built in secret, waiting for this moment. "All ships, weapons free," Duha commanded. "Show them what humanity can really do." The space around Earth lit up with quantum fire. The Concordat ships didn't even have time to send warnings before they vanished into quantum space. My son walked calmly through the chaos in the alien capital. Around her, every piece of Concordat technology was failing. The simple decorative items she had sold to alien officials over the years were now releasing Gayan's most powerful viruses directly into their central systems. She sent a quick message to command. "Capital systems compromised. proceeding to extraction point. In his laboratory, Yanwu watched the data flow in. His quantum weapons were working perfectly. The aliens had no defense against them because they had never imagined humans could develop such technology. Send the activation signal for Phase 3, he told his team. Across Concordat space, more hidden devices powered up, ready to strike. The Concordat's military leaders gathered in their emergency bunker. They thought they were safe behind their strongest shields. They didn't know that Hansol's teams had been inside for hours, waiting. How? One alien commander demanded. How did primitive Deathworlders do this? Hansol stepped out of the shadows, his quantum weapon ready. You made 3 mistakes, he said calmly. You thought we were primitive. You thought we were weak. And worst of all, you thought we would show mercy. In his command center, Duha watched the reports come in. Every strike was hitting its target. The Concordat's mighty military machine was falling apart in less than an hour. Status report, he demanded. Gayen's voice was filled with satisfaction. All their major systems are down. Their fleets are blind. Their weapons won't fire. Phase 1 is complete. Hansol. All primary targets secured. No casualties on our side. Yanwu. Quantum weapons performing beyond expectations. The aliens have no defense. Duha allowed himself to smile. The Concordat had spent centuries building their power. They thought they were unbeatable. But they had never faced an enemy like humanity, a species that had learned to fight and survive on a death world. Send to all commands, he ordered. Phase 1 complete. Begin Phase 2. Show no mercy. Across the galaxy, humanity's hidden forces received the order and moved forward. The real war was just beginning. Every screen in Concordat space suddenly went black. In homes, offices, and ships, aliens stared at their dark displays in confusion. Then the screens lit up again, showing something no one expected, proof of the Concordat's crimes. Gayen sat at her command center, pushing buttons with careful precision. Broadcasting on all frequencies, she reported to Dua. They can't stop the signal. Every species in the galaxy is seeing this right now. On millions of screens, the truth played out in clear, simple images. The deliberate destruction of human colonies, the planned poisoning of Earth's crops, the secret meetings where Concordat leaders laughed about killing humans. Years of recordings from hidden cameras showed the full story of their cruelty. In the Concordat capital, my son watched alien citizens stop in the streets, staring at the huge public screens. Their faces showed shock and disgust as they learned what their leaders had done. Many of them had never known the truth about how the Concordat treated other species. How do they react? Duha's voice asked in her hidden earpiece. They're angry, my son reported quietly. But not at us. They're angry at their own leaders. On a small trading planet, Jinho stood in a crowded market. Around him, members of smaller alien species watched the broadcasts with growing rage. These were races that the Concordat had also bullied and controlled, though never as badly as they had hurt humans. Commander, he sent his report. The minor species are turning against the Concordat. Many are openly supporting Earth now. Duha watched from his command center as the galaxy's political map changed by the minute. The Concordat's perfectly built image was falling apart. Every secret, every lie, every cruel plan was now visible to everyone. Show them the military footage, he ordered. Gayen nodded and sent the next set of recordings. Now the screens showed humanity's true strength. Hidden fleets emerging from secret bases, advanced weapons that the Concordat had never imagined, armies of trained soldiers who had been preparing for years. Let them see exactly what they're dealing with, Duha said quietly. In the captured Concordat military base, Hansol watched alien prisoners stare at the screens in disbelief. These proud warriors had always thought of humans as weak creatures. Now they saw the truth. Humans had been building their strength in secret, waiting for the right moment. Sir, one of his soldiers called. We're getting surrender messages from 3 more Concordat bases. They saw the broadcasts and don't want to fight. Hansol smiled. Tell them we accept their surrender, but their weapons stay offline. Yanwu stood in his lab, watching the reactions spread across the galaxy. His quantum weapons had proven that humans weren't the primitive species everyone thought they were. But this revelation was doing even more damage to the Concordat than any weapon could. The truth hurts more than quantum fire, he said to his team. But keep the weapons ready. Some of them won't surrender easily. In the Concordat's emergency bunker, the alien leaders tried desperately to stop the broadcasts. Nothing worked. Gayan's programs had locked them out of their own systems. How did they hide all this? One leader demanded. How did we not see it? Because you didn't want to see it, Hansol answered from the shadows. You were too busy believing humans were stupid animals. You never thought we could outsmart you. Back in his command center, Duhe received messages from across the galaxy. Minor alien species were declaring their support for Earth. Concordat military units were surrendering. The mighty alliance that had terrorized humanity was falling apart in hours. Gayan, he called, show them the last recording. On screens throughout the galaxy, Duhe's face appeared. He spoke calmly, but his words carried steel. To all species in the galaxy, you have seen the truth. You have seen what the Concordat really is. And you have seen what humanity can do. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We don't want to hurt anyone. We just want to be left in peace. But remember this. We are Deathworlders. We survived on a planet that tried to kill us every day. We learned to fight back. And if anyone ever tries to harm us again. He let the silence hang for a moment. Well, now you know what happens when you push humans too far. Across the galaxy, aliens watched in silence. The species they had mocked as primitive had just outsmarted them all. The animals they had tried to cage had broken free. And the galaxy would never be the same. The Concordat's hidden fleet appeared from deep space, thousands of ships moving toward Earth. They had kept these ships secret, saving them for a day when they needed to crush someone completely. Now they were using everything they had left. In his command center, Duhe watched them come. He didn't look worried. They took the bait, he said quietly. Gayan, are you ready? Ready, Commander, she answered. They're using exactly the communication channels we expected. Our virus is already inside their systems. The Concordat Admiral stood on his flagship's bridge, watching Earth grow larger on his screen. He had commanded the secret fleet for 20 years, waiting for a chance to use it. These ships carried the Concordat's most powerful weapons. No one had ever survived an attack from this fleet. Begin the attack, he ordered. Destroy Thyr. His words stopped as every screen on his ship went dark. Across his entire fleet, ships suddenly lost power and started drifting in space. Their ships are disabled, Gayan reported. The virus worked perfectly. They can't fire weapons or change course. Duhe nodded and pressed a button. All ships, move into position. Show them our surprises. From behind Earth's moon, hundreds of hidden human ships appeared. From Mars, another fleet emerged. From the asteroid belt, more ships joined the formation. The Concordat had thought they knew all of Earth's military strength. They were wrong. In his lab, Yanwu watched the space battle through his monitors. The Concordat ships tried desperately to restart their systems, but nothing worked. They had built their technology to be perfect, but that made it easy to crash when Gayan's virus got inside. They're all yours, Commander, he reported. The quantum weapons are ready when you need them. Hansol's teams moved through the disabled Concordat ships like shadows. The alien crews never saw them coming. Years of training in zero-gravity combat made his soldiers deadly in the silent darkness of space. Bridge secured, he reported from the Concordat flagship. The Admiral surrendered. You should hear what he's saying about humans now. My son stood in the alien capital's main square, watching the battle on the huge public screens. Around her, aliens from many species cheered as the mighty Concordat fleet drifted helpless in space. The ones who had been bullied by the Concordat for centuries were enjoying its defeat. "The people here have chosen their side," she reported to Dua. "They're celebrating our victory." Back in the command center, Dua received reports from across the galaxy. The Concordat's attack had failed completely. Their secret fleet was now a collection of floating metal boxes in space. "Sir," a junior officer called, "we're getting signals from more Concordat bases. They want to surrender." Dua looked at his screen, where the Concordat admiral's face showed pure shock. The alien commander couldn't understand how his perfect fleet had been defeated so easily. "You still don't get it, do you?" Dua asked him. "You thought technology made you strong. You thought your perfect ships and weapons made you unbeatable. But humans learned something different on our death world." He leaned closer to the screen. "We learned that survival isn't about having the best weapons. It's about being ready for anything. It's about turning weakness into strength. You thought we were weak because we showed you what you wanted to see. That was your biggest mistake." Across human space, people watched the battles end on their screens. The mighty Concordat fleet now floated powerless, surrounded by human ships. The aliens who had terrorized Earth for so long were finally defeated. "What should we do with their ships?" Gayan asked. Dua thought for a moment. "Fix their life support and engines. Let them limp home. But first, let them watch." He pressed another button, and new ships appeared from hiding places all across the galaxy. Earth's real fleet was 10 times bigger than what they had shown so far. "Send them a message," he ordered. "Tell them this is just a small part of humanity's strength. Tell them that if they ever threaten us again, they won't get a chance to surrender." The Concordat admiral stared at the endless lines of human ships filling his view screen. He finally understood what humans had been doing all these years. While his people played at being mighty rulers, humanity had been preparing for war. And now, too late, he knew why the galaxy's ancient stories had warned everyone to fear the Deathworlders. The Concordat's High Council met in their secret bunker deep underground. They thought no one could find them here. They were wrong. Han Sol's team had been hiding in the ventilation system for 3 days, waiting for all the council members to gather. Now he watched through special cameras as the alien leaders argued about what to do next. "Sir," his second-in-command whispered, "all teams are in position." Han Sol nodded and sent a simple message to Dua. "Ready." In her command center, Gayan smiled as she watched the council meeting through hidden cameras. The alien leaders were using their most secure communication systems to contact their forces. They didn't know that every message was going straight to her computers. "Commander," she called to Dua, "I have locations for all remaining Concordat leaders. Sending data to strike teams now." Yanwu stood in his lab, surrounded by screens showing different alien weapon systems. He had spent years studying how Concordat technology worked. Now he was using that knowledge to take it apart. Their shield systems all used the same basic design, he explained to his team. They never thought anyone would understand it well enough to break it. That's why this is going to work. He pressed a button, and across the galaxy, quantum devices hidden near Concordat bases activated. One by one, their mighty defense shields flickered and died. On the Concordat capital world, my son walked calmly through the chaos. Alien citizens ran through the streets as more news of defeats came in. The mighty Concordat was falling apart, and everyone knew it. She passed a group of smaller alien species celebrating in the street. They had suffered under Concordat rule for centuries. Now, they were watching their oppressors fall. "The people are ready," she reported to Dua. "They're waiting for your announcement." Dua stood in his command center, watching reports come in from across the galaxy. Every hour, more Concordat bases surrendered. Their leaders were being captured. Their weapons were being shut down. Their perfect system of control was breaking apart. "Sir," an officer called, "Han Sol's team is ready to move on the High Council." Dua nodded. "Tell them to wait for my signal." "Gayan, are you ready with the broadcast?" "Ready," Commander. Every screen in Concordat space will show this. In the secret bunker, the High Council members finally agreed on a plan. They would use their doomsday weapons, devices so terrible they had never dared use them before. They would destroy Earth completely, even if it meant breaking their own laws. Send the activation codes, the council leader ordered. Nothing happened. Why aren't the weapons responding? He demanded. Because we broke them 3 days ago, Hansol said, stepping out of the shadows with his team. Did you really think we'd let you keep those weapons? In his lab, Yunwu watched as his quantum devices finished their work. Every Concordat superweapon was now useless, its systems scrambled beyond repair. All weapons neutralized, he reported. They can't hurt anyone ever again. Across the galaxy, on every screen, Duha's face appeared. Behind him, humans stood proudly in their real uniforms, not the simple clothes the Concordat had forced them to wear. People of the galaxy, he said calmly, the Concordat's rule is over. Their leaders are captured. Their weapons are destroyed. Their power is broken. The screen showed images of Hansol's teams arresting the High Council, of Concordat superweapons being shut down, of alien citizens celebrating in the streets. We didn't want this war, Duha continued. We tried to live in peace, but the Concordat thought they could treat us like animals. They thought they could cage us, kill us, and we would do nothing. His voice grew stronger. They forgot what it means to be human. On our death world, we learned to be patient, to watch, to wait for the right moment. And when that moment came, we showed them why their ancestors feared Earth. He paused, letting his words sink in. To those who helped us, thank you. To those who fought against us, remember this lesson. And to anyone who thinks they can treat humans like animals in the future. The screen showed Earth's full military might, fleets of ships, armies of soldiers, weapons that could reshape reality itself. Remember what happened to the Concordat. Remember what Deathworlders can do when pushed too far. Across the galaxy, aliens watched in silence. The species they had mocked as primitive had just outsmarted the mightiest empire in history. The animals they had tried to cage had not only broken free, they had taken over the zoo. The Concordat's homeworld hung in space like a jewel, protected by its last remaining fleet. Behind the planet's 3 moons, the remaining Concordat leaders had gathered their strongest ships and best warriors. This was where they would make their final stand. Duha stood on his flagship's bridge, looking at the enemy fleet on his screen. How many ships? He asked. 5,000. Commander, Gayan's voice replied through the comm. They've activated every backup system and emergency protocol they have. But... She paused, and Duha could hear the smile in her voice. They're still using our compromised communication channels. They're too proud to admit their technology isn't perfect. On the Concordat homeworld, in a fortress deep underground, the remaining alien leaders prepared for battle. They had one last trick. Experimental weapons they'd been too afraid to use before. Now they had no choice. The humans think they've seen all our weapons, one leader said. They're wrong. In his hidden corner of the fortress, Jinho listened carefully and sent a message to Earth. Yanmu received Jinho's warning in his lab. He studied the data about the new weapons and smiled. They're using quantum technology they stole from us 10 years ago, he told his team. They never understood how it really works. Watch this. He pressed a button, sending new commands to the quantum devices hidden throughout the Concordat fleet. Hansol and his teams moved silently through the Concordat fortress. The alien guards never saw them in the shadows. Years of fighting on Earth's most dangerous terrain had taught them how to move unseen, even in enemy territory. All teams in position, he reported quietly. Waiting for your signal, Commander. In the Concordat capital city, my son watched as the last civilian ships flowed into space. The proud aliens who had once ruled the galaxy were running away from the species they had called primitive. The city is almost empty, she reported. Only military forces remain. Good, Duha replied. I don't want any innocent people hurt in what comes next. Duha looked at his tactical screen. Human ships had surrounded the planet, hidden behind its moons, and in its asteroid belt. The Concordat could only see a small part of Earth's fleet, exactly what he wanted. All ships, prepare for combat, he ordered. Gaian, start the attack program. Yunwu, ready the quantum weapons. Hansol, stand by. He took a deep breath, then spoke to the enemy fleet. Attention Concordat forces. This is Commander Duha Kim of Earth. Surrender now, and we will show mercy. The Concordat admiral's face appeared on his screen, full of anger and pride. We will never surrender to animals. The admiral shouted. Fire all weapons. 5,000 Concordat ships fired at once. The space around the planet lit up with energy beams and plasma torpedoes. It looked like nothing could survive such an attack. But the human ships weren't where they appeared to be. Gaian's programs had fooled the Concordat's targeting systems. Their mighty weapons hit nothing but empty space. Now, Duha ordered quietly. Across the battlefield, Yunwu's quantum devices activated. The stolen Concordat weapons backfired, destroying hundreds of their own ships. At the same time, the real human fleet appeared from hiding. Their weapons are down, Gaian reported. Their shields are failing. Their communications are cut off. In the underground fortress, Hansol's team struck at exactly the same moment. The alien leaders never had a chance to use their emergency escape pods. Fortress secured, Hansol reported. All Concordat leaders are captured. The space battle lasted less than 10 minutes. The mighty Concordat fleet, pride of their civilization, floated dead in space. Not one human ship was lost. Duha walked onto the bridge of the Concordat flagship. The alien admiral stood in chains, watching as human soldiers took control of his ship. How? The admiral asked. How did primitive Deathworlders defeat us so easily? Because you never understood us, Duha answered. You saw our strength and thought it made us dangerous animals. But our real strength wasn't in our muscles or our weapons. He gestured to the screens showing the defeated Concordat fleet. Our strength came from surviving on a world that tried to kill us every day. We learned to be patient, to plan, to work together, to turn weakness into strength. You could have been our friends and allies. Instead, you chose to be our enemies. Duha looked out at the Concordat homeworld, now under human control. Remember this day, he said quietly. Remember what happened when you pushed the Deathworlders too far. John walked quickly down the dark alley. He knew it was dangerous, but he had to get home. The streets were empty and quiet. Too quiet. Suddenly, he heard a noise behind him. Footsteps getting closer. John's heart started beating faster. He walked a little quicker. The footsteps sped up too. John risked a glance over his shoulder. In the dim light, he could make out a figure following about 20 feet behind him. The person wore a dark hoodie with the hood up, hiding their face. A chill ran down John's spine. This was not good. Not good at all. He faced forward again and broke into a light jog. The follower matched his pace. John's mind raced, trying to figure out what to do. He could try to run, but the mysterious stalker would probably chase him. He could stop and confront the person, but that seemed very risky, especially in this secluded alley. He decided to get to a busier street as quickly as possible. There would be lights, people, and open businesses. It would be safer there. John picked up his pace again, moving at a fast clip now. He heard the footsteps behind him break into a run as well. His pursuer was not giving up. John's hands trembled and sweat formed on his forehead, despite the chilly night air. After what felt like an eternity, but was really only a minute, John saw the glow of the busy avenue ahead. The alley opened up onto the sidewalk. John began to sprint, his feet pounding the pavement as he raced the last 100 feet to the relative safety of the populated street. The footsteps grew louder, closer. His tracker was just behind him now. John's lungs burned and his legs ached. Almost there. Just as he burst out of the alley onto the sidewalk, John felt a hand grip his shoulder from behind. He whirled around to face his pursuer.